Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. Are Arsenal getting the credit they deserve, or are they overhyped? Some people are saying they've got no chance of winning the league. Some people are saying they have to win the league. Where do you stand on the Arsenal debate? Where do you stand on the Premier League? I tell you what, I might be a day late reacting to this, but I think we've got a really interesting Premier League. And I think sometimes negativity is the easy option, but we've got a relegation fight, we've got a title race going on. And I think although there are huge problems with the Premier League, massive problems, we've spoken about 3 p.m. blackouts, the officiating is proven again to be absolutely bloody abysmal. But I thought that was a statement win from Arsenal on Sunday. And I think it was a statement loss from Crystal Palace. And I think it's a statement win for the league. We want to be there at Christmas with a title race. We definitely want to be there in April with a title race. And I think that looking at the progression of both clubs over the summer, and let's not rule out the potential for a Man City or a Chelsea or maybe a Bournemouth or a Palace to join the race, I think the result for Arsenal on Sunday, whilst it wasn't just a result, it was a performance as well, really does pose us questions this week with Arsenal playing West Ham and Liverpool going to Chelsea, just where we might be going into this international break. Because I predicted that Arsenal are going to win this league, and I'm fully aware that there is this strange divisiveness, and I'd love people to get in the comments and tell me what it is you don't like about Arsenal. What is it that's unlike about Arsenal? Why is it people don't want to give Arsenal credit? Why are they always looking for something? Because I don't necessarily understand it. I mean, we've been doing That's Football for a long time. I've always said about Arteta that I can see what he's doing. It's going to take time, but I see what he's doing. It was about stability. It was about results. It was about being in a title race. I think now it's about the striker and the squad. And when you look at their bench and you think Ben White can't get a look in and he'd be good enough to start for most teams in the Premier League, when you look at the fact that Madueke, Odegaard, Havertz, Nkapé are all actually injured, although Odegaard was back at the weekend, the rotational options that they've got, the experience that they've got, and now that Newcastle result, there's not going to be many times this season that Arsenal can look at a game and go, we were 1-0 down, we were up against it and we went and won. Newcastle's one of the hardest places to go in the Premier League, and they deserve to win as well. And they had a dodgy decision go against them. The mentality, the results, the performance, the way that Arteta went there on the front foot as well. He didn't play pragmatic. I think there's a lot of positives around Arsenal. I don't understand what the negatives would be. I don't think for 1 minute Liverpool aren't the favourites, by the way. I didn't say Arsenal are favourites to win the league. I said I think Arsenal will win the league. I think Liverpool are favourites. I don't think Liverpool have fallen on hard times just because they lost to Crystal Palace. That loss has been well overdue. I don't think Liverpool are playing to the best of their ability yet. But I think that they're more than capable of stepping up and going through the gears. I think they've got a number of players that are still basically settling in. I think they've got a number of players that haven't really got going yet, and as a team they haven't got going yet. But Arsenal have had the difficult to start to the season. They've been to Old Trafford, they've been to Anfield, they've been to St James's Park, they've played Manchester City. They're 2 points off Liverpool. Liverpool, them 5 wins in a row were very, very good. But I think right here, right now, if I said to you who's going to win the league, and you have got to answer it. For me, I'm still sticking with Arsenal. I said it before the season. I think we make Premier League predictions and we wish we hadn't. Man United in 5th. 3 up, 3 down. I'm not happy about being wrong about both of those. Well, I'm happy about the relegation. I don't want to be right about that. I would love somebody to stay up. But I wouldn't change my opinion on Arsenal. My prediction was that they would win the league before a ball was kicked. And when a ball has been kicked, you have more evidence. But I wouldn't change that right here, right now. I think Arsenal are the best team in the league. Didn't script that. I mean, I think Arsenal are the best team in the league at the moment. We've had 6 games. It doesn't mean they're going to be the best team after 38 games. What I like about this season and where it surpassed my expectation is that I thought the money that was spent by Arsenal and Liverpool especially would take them to a different level. I felt that money was spent to compete for the Champions League, but also to compete for the Premier League. To give them that buffer, to allow them to compete in the Premier League, but also in the Champions League. I think that's what that money was about, squads, rotation, etc. What we've seen in the Premier League, amazingly, is that teams like Bournemouth have lost a lot of players, Brentford have lost a lot of players, but they've retained that competitive edge that every game's a difficult game in the Premier League. And we've seen that with none more under the microscope than how Crystal Palace are now 18 games unbeaten in all competitions, which is incredible, and how they deservedly beat the champions of England, albeit with a last-minute winner. They should have had that game won in the first half. So we have a competitive edge. And, you know, West Ham for Arsenal on the weekend doesn't become the foregone conclusion it maybe would have done, because they've got a new manager. There might be a new manager bounce. Chelsea at Stamford Bridge for Liverpool becomes very, very, very difficult. So I think we're getting twists and turns in this Premier League title race already. And I wouldn't rule Man City out. I don't think they're capable, but I wouldn't rule them out. So I think where we are at the moment, the thing that Arsenal have, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, is that Liverpool was scrapping results, and all good sides do that. But they don't have rhythm. They don't have fluidity. They don't have a system at the moment. They've had a major upheaval in the summer on more than one level. And they're almost rebuilding. Which was right to do that. Slot sort of inherited Klopp's team, did an amazing job, and then he must be allowed to build his own team. It's almost season 1 again for Slot, even though it's season 2. And they're not in a bad position. They're top of the league and they're still transitioning. But I think Arsenal are the most stable outfit in the Premier League. When you look at Man City, huge upheaval, huge change. Liverpool change. Chelsea are always upheaval. Arsenal are the most stable. Arteta, still the manager. The team still has its core of Saka and Rice and Saliba and Gabriel and Raya and others. They've supplemented in areas where the core can still lead the team. Zubimendi obviously supplements Odegaard and Rice. Gyökeres, the missing piece up front. Wide players like Eze, Madueke. I think they've supplemented a hard team. And also, I could argue that Arsenal's best player this season has been Timber, another player that's been there from last season. So I think Arsenal have the consistency and stability that other teams don't have. What Arsenal need to do over the next 5 to 10 games is make hay. They've got through a difficult start to the season. They now have a run of games where you wouldn't expect them to be losing games, and they're a hard team to beat. They need to build momentum now. They can't have draws. They certainly can't have losses. Because I think the next stage of this league we're waiting for is the stability and rhythm to hit for the Man Cities and the Liverpools. So I think Arsenal have put the hard yards in. They now need to make sure that over the next few games there are no slip-ups. There are no 0-0s with Everton at home. There are no losses to Aston Villa and things like that. So Arsenal have an opportunity here to really build between now and Christmas. I would be saying that Arsenal need a lead. They need a lead. They're very good at being second. They don't want to be chasing this title. So I think Arsenal now, it's about whether, after a difficult start to the season, they've put themselves in a position. They now need to build on that position. Because, especially if Liverpool are going to drop points at the weekend, Arsenal need to put themselves in a position where they're top. So I think all I want is a title race. And I think, hopefully, we're going to get that. The only criticism I would give Arsenal, and I don't even know if it's going to be true this year, is can they rid themselves of those silly points dropped? That will be their downfall. Can they stop the 0-0s with Brighton and things like that? They have to be winning those games. They should be bullying their way to the top of the table, and they should be looking down on everybody else going, we believe we're the best team in the league. That's Arsenal's job. That's their job. As I said, I think for Liverpool, ASAP, they need to start playing well. Any Liverpool fan you speak to, very happy with the start of the season up till the Palace game. But, you know, there has been a few getaways. There has been a few get-out-of-jail cards. They need to start playing better. Give us your thoughts anyway. Make sure you smash a like. It's Champions League week, so we've got watch-alongs both tonight and tomorrow night. We've got all the Bundesliga highlights tomorrow afternoon for you as well. That'll be around 4 o'clock. So lots for you to get involved with on That's Football. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Who's the best team in the Premier League at the moment, right here, right now? And what is it about Arsenal that divides opinion so much? Get your comments in. Lots for you to say. I'll speak to you on the next one.